Hey YouTube, Wolfman and Nikki here, and today we are doing the Wolfman review of Suicide Squad. So we saw it about 3 days ago, and we had watched a lot of reviews on it before we even went to go see the movie. And I see a lot of the points that they made. Like, they did really well with all of the characters. Their portrayals were really good. But you could tell that a lot was taken out of the movie. I mean, for what it was, it flowed really well. But you could tell that they took a lot out of the movie. Because there were some scenes that just didn't make sense. A lot of people say that they couldn't really get a good read on Jared Leto's Joker because he was in there for such a short period of time. And I actually heard one person say that his Joker wouldn't stay with them. Me, personally, his Joker will stay with me forever. He has got to be one of the best portrayals of the Joker I have seen in a long time. Care to shed any insight?
Well, I went into the movie knowing most of the characters, surprisingly, with as little as I know. And I felt like the portrayals of the characters were pretty much almost on cue.
On point?
Yeah.
That word. The one I
That
said,
one.
yeah.
All in all, it was a really good story. But I did feel like it was missing something.
Like, there was a lot of stuff that went on in the movie, and they couldn't give you all of the characters' real backstories. So, the main backstory you really got throughout everything was Harley Quinn's. Because she, out of everyone in the Suicide Squad, she is the most well-known character. So they spent the most time on her. Now, Deadshot. I have to talk about Deadshot because going into this movie, I did not think Will Smith was going to do as good as he did. It's not the Deadshot that I'm used to, but this is also the cinematic universe. It's not the same universe as the comic books or the animated movies, or even the television universe. So this Floyd Lawton was not the Floyd Lawton I was used to. But damn it if it wasn't good. It was a great portrayal of the character. I'm going to save Harley Quinn for last. El Diablo. I didn't know that much about El Diablo going into the movie. I knew a little bit. I knew he was a pyrokinetic. He was an LA gangbanger. That was about all I knew. Now, that's about all you know about him in the movie. But his character, the way they portrayed it, the way they did it was masterful. He didn't want to fight anymore. He didn't want to be the person he used to be. And I mean, that added just this whole other thing to it because Will Smith Deadshot actually had to provoke him into doing something throughout the movie, and then apologized. He's like, whoa, look, I was just trying to get you there. We cool, right? Like, I mean, then Killer Croc is one of the ones I had the biggest problems with.
1 second. On El Diablo, the
Oh, yeah.
giant Aztec skeleton on fire was amazing.
There's this one scene where he's fighting against the Enchantress's brother, who's this giant thing comprised of multiple people, apparently. Mm-hmm. And El Diablo's like, don't worry, I got this. Comes in, starts fighting, gets bitch slapped away, like, fuck you. Then all of a sudden he lets loose, and he becomes this gigantic Aztec flaming skeleton, and he just starts bashing on this dude. I mean, eventually he gets knocked out of it because the dude's powerful, but still.
But it was amazing.
That scene within itself, just the way it happened, was fucking amazing. They even showed a little preview of it at one point because he does like this and he makes flames dance in his hand because he's a pyrokinetic. At one point he says, "You just don't know who I really am," and you see the flaming skeleton, or you see the head of the flaming Aztec skeleton. Next thing you know, later on in the movie, boom! He's the giant flaming Aztec skeleton. Amazing. It's great. Now, I do have to agree with some of the reviews I have. It was an amazing movie. I loved it. It was great. Is it perfect? No. There was the movie itself was choppy. Some of the scenes seemed really rushed and just kind of thrown in there. Now there was one complaint I heard about Captain Boomerang. Now Captain Boomerang, he's a B-rated villain. He kind of always has been, but he's the Flash's B-rated villain. And whenever you see him, the Flash comes in. You get to see him all decked out and everything. He looks great. It's fucking beautiful. But one scene that I heard a complaint about was he came out. They said, "Okay, you're free to go." Dude smashes the control that detonates the little rice-sized bomb in their heads. And Captain Boomerang grabs all of his shit and runs out the bar. About 5-10 minutes later, they all decide they're going to save the world and they're leaving, and all of a sudden, they're all walking in a group. Here comes Captain Boomerang, finishes off whatever he's drinking, throws it to the side. No explanation. Nothing. No backstory as to why he's back or anything. He left, then he comes back. That's about it. So that kind of bothered me. Because it seemed like there was a big chunk of scene missing. Like somebody was supposed to go and talk to him. And he denies coming back. And then reconsiders it and comes back right before the final fight. But you don't get it. Rick Flag, the guy who they got to play Rick Flag was good. Like, definitely not who I would have chosen myself to play Rick Flag, but he did a really good job. Let me see. Killer Croc. That's who I was talking about. Killer Croc is one of the ones I had the biggest problem with. Because there were scenes where he looked huge. And there were scenes where he just looked like a regular sized person. And then his voice was just, no, that's not how Killer Croc's supposed to sound. I mean, even given that this is the cinematic universe and it's not the animated universe, what they did with his voice was just off to me. Then, I mean, granted, the effects were great for what they did with him, but he just wasn't Killer Croc. To me, it would have been better if they used King Shark. That would have made more sense, because the actor that they got looked more like he would have been better suited to play King Shark rather than Killer Croc. But for what they did with him, he was good. I'll give them that. But he was the one I had the biggest problem with. Now, so let me see. That's Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Joker, Rick Flag, and Killer Croc. Enchantress. Enchantress was really, really an intricate character that they had done for this movie, because hers is quite possibly one of the most obscure backstories. She is also the only one that that you get a little bit more detail on their backstory with. But that's because she's the main villain. Like, she really is. She's the main villain. And so her character itself is really, really intricate. It's just, there's a lot of things that went into her character design, her character abilities, the stuff that she can and can't do. You know, she was essentially a god with her and her brother back in their time from another dimension or whatever. Like, I went into this movie knowing almost next to nothing about Enchantress. Like, the only thing I knew was that she was a very, very powerful witch. And that's it. Like, that's the only thing I really knew about this character. And coming into this movie, I found out a little bit more. Now, whether it's been modified for just the movie or that's how she was in the comics, I'm not too sure. She's kind of like an El Diablo for me. Now, granted, I am going to be looking up these characters. It's very rare that I go into a movie that I don't know anything about the characters. And these are little background characters. And my first thing is, I want to know more about these characters. It's rare that that happens. El Diablo and Enchantress are two 1 in a million shots for me. So that takes care of everyone except for Harley Quinn. Now, Harley Quinn's character is literally directly linked to the Joker's story in this movie. Now, the Joker only has maybe 6-7 scenes. Grand total of about maybe 7 to 10 minutes of screen time. But in that 7 to 10 minutes, he made the Joker more humanized and more insane all at the same time. And it was because of Harley Quinn. Now, the intricacy of the Joker-Harley Quinn relationship is that she fell in love with him because of the fact that she was a doctor at Arkham Asylum. She was very interested in criminal cases and the villains of Gotham. Well, she met the Joker, started studying him, fell in love with him. Now, in the comics and the TV series, which is the 1989 Batman the Animated Series, which was, you know, where Harley Quinn first made her debut. Since then, she has been introduced into comics, has made several appearances in different incarnations throughout the years. But I have to say, Margot Robbie did an excellent job of playing Harley Quinn. Now, granted, I wasn't that big a fan of the costume, but they did make a tribute to the original Harley Quinn costume multiple times. Now, one of my favorite scenes involves Harley Quinn and the Joker. She gets dumped into a chemical. Basically, he looks at her and goes, "Would you die for me?" And she looks at him and smiles with her glasses on. Yes. He goes, No. That's too easy. Would you live for me?" And again, same look on her face. Yes. Then she falls backwards into the same vat of chemicals that changed the Joker, apparently. Well, the Joker starts walking away like, okay, she did it. I'm good. Then he stops, looks back, rolls his eyes and his head back, kind of makes a little grunt, just turns, takes off his jacket, runs, and jumps into the vat after her. Now, this shows a whole new take on the relationship between Harley Quinn and the Joker. One that is personally something I love. Hey, Ruby. Bye, Ruby. It's one that I actually really like because it shows the more romantic side of it. Now, in the comics, everybody sees, the Joker's really abusive to Harley Quinn. Beats her, smacks her around. But the fact that nobody truly understands the complexity of their relationship. The Joker is scared of the feelings he has for Harley. And Harley is the only person that can truly relate to the Joker. So, because the Joker is insane yet not insane. It's a very Ruaya. Go sit down, baby. Go sit down. 1, 2. Go sit. Sorry, guys. But it just added a new layer to the relationship because it showed that, and throughout the entire movie, the reason why the Joker's even there, besides to introduce the Harley Quinn character, is to rescue Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad. Like, that's his big thing. And another scene that I really liked is a tribute to a t-shirt that has been made. And it has Harley Quinn sitting here doing like this in her original costume, and the Joker holding her, and they're dancing kind of, and he's in the black tuxedo. Well, they actually have that scene in the movie. It was based off of a comic book cover. And they took it and put it directly into the movie. Recreated perfectly. And then whenever they're looking through all their stuff, Harley Quinn literally finds her old costume. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that went into this. And I can understand a lot of the choppy editing and everything because of everything coming together. So now I've given my opinion on the characters, the story, and everything. We've gotten a little bit from her. Let's hear a little bit more from her.
I gotta put my input in on Killer Croc. You know, I didn't know that much about him, but I felt like for what they did with him for the cinematic universe was pretty decent. Even though, yes, there were some major flaws in how he looked giant in some places and normal size in others. I loved Margot Robbie's portrayal of Harley Quinn.
That's the character she knew the most about.
Yeah.
Before even going into this.
Well, her and the Joker.
Well, the Joker's a given. It doesn't matter if you know Batman or not. You know the Joker.
Mostly.
You could be a comic... You don't even have to be a comic book fan. You could not even be a fan of Batman. If you know one thing about comics, it's the Joker.
Yeah.
And if you know the Joker, it's a given that you're going to know Harley Quinn.
I was really confused by the Enchantress because I've never heard anything about her, but I liked what they did with her.
Quite possibly one of the most visually captivating characters I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I already put my 2 cents in about El Diablo. And the other characters I really didn't know much about.
Like, going into it, if you're not a die-hard comic book fan and you see all these new characters that you've never really known before, you're not going to get a full sense of all the characters. You're not. So I went in knowing these characters, or at least knowing most of them, or even just a little bit about each of the characters. For the casual moviegoer, you're not going to get a full sense of these characters going to see this movie. So that's just forewarning you. But it is a movie I would recommend. And so far, even with how much I love Batman v Superman, and it's a flawed movie. A lot of people don't understand the complexity of that movie or what that movie is supposed to symbolize or mean.
I still haven't seen it yet.
And so, to me, a lot of people just don't get that movie. But even with as much as I loved Batman v Superman, this movie outranked that, bar none. Batman v Superman cannot touch Suicide Squad at all. I loved Suicide Squad, and as all of you guys know, all of you who watch any given video I make, a lot of them have to do with the Joker, or coming back to the Joker, or something to do with the Joker. I have 3 different Joker theory videos. I am a Joker fanatic. Not a fan, a fanatic. I am obsessed with the Joker. I will not deny this. She knows this. Out of the 4 live-action adaptations of the Joker thus far, Cesar Romero, who is the classic and in my opinion will always be the most definitive Joker ever portrayed in live action, but bar none not my favorite, but he is the definitive. Jack Nicholson, who was the 1989 Joker, where a lot of things were misinterpreted and taken and done things differently than some other, but still really good. The Heath Ledger, who was my favorite Joker for a long period of time, and Jared Leto, who is my current favorite. Honestly, the look, it's not the Joker we're used to, but again, he's based off of the Frank Miller Dark Knight Return, All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder Joker. That's who he's based from. Now, they just took a whole new set on what the Joker was supposed to be.
Those bubbles taste good?
So, in my opinion, for what we saw of him, he was amazing. Serious, yet funny. He truly embodied what it should look like to be a psychopath. One of my favorite scenes is you have a guard that helped take care of Harley Quinn in Belle Reve, and he just sticks out his hand with the pinky ring. The guy kisses it, and he comes up, sit on, and he's just super serious the entire time. Then all of a sudden he sits on his lap and is like, I can tell you really meant that. Just this overflow of happy-go-lucky, I'm gonna kill you type sense. And then the iconic scene that everybody knows from the trailer. Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad. That actual scene in the movie was way more intense than I actually thought it would be. But overall, the movie as a whole is definitely something I would recommend to people. And I would have to say, if you're a casual moviegoer, go watch Suicide Squad. If you're a huge comic book fan, go watch Suicide Squad. If you didn't like Suicide Squad, go watch Batman Assault on Arkham. If you like Suicide Squad, go watch Batman Assault on Arkham. You don't get the in-depth that you do in the movie for Suicide Squad, as you don't get that in-depth in Assault on Arkham. But in Assault on Arkham, you get to see King Shark, Killer Frost, who's another Flash villain, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, and Deadshot. Those are your main characters in that movie. And it's a great animated movie. That's the thing. Assault on Arkham is an animated movie. Now, normally, whenever I do a Wolfman review of movies, as of late, I've been doing at least 2 movies a piece. or multiple things in my Wolfman review. This entire video has been about Suicide Squad. So, in whole, in total, Suicide Squad was really good. I wish they would have given us more on certain characters. Like, I wish I could have gotten more information on Captain Boomerang. I wish I could have gotten more information on Enchantress and El Diablo. Those are the... Well, Enchantress, you got a good amount of information on her. So it's mainly just two characters that I would really like to have seen a little bit more in depth into their backstory. And that is Captain Boomerang and El Diablo. Those two characters, like, Captain Boomerang as a character was hilarious. Like, I mean, just one of the funniest characters in the entire movie. He stole that movie for me. And El Diablo was just this amazing character that just, even though you didn't get that much of his backstory, you could see in his character that he had such turmoil in his own mind about what he should and shouldn't do. Like, you could just see it from his character. And that, to me, shows so much. So, really, what...
Okay, Mommy's come and gave you a Nana.
My daughter wants banana. But as far as the movie goes, I definitely recommend it. I want an ultimate edition of this movie. I want like 30 more minutes of extended scenes in this movie. Because this movie, with Batman v Superman, yeah, you could tell that there were certain things taken out. But it didn't matter. At least not to me. But in this movie, it made a huge difference with things that didn't make it into the movie. But, like, I want... No, Ruby. You eat it. But I honestly want an extended edition of this movie. Because this movie would be that much better with extended scenes.
Yep.
Like, I mean, this movie was brilliant for what they did with it. And even with the Joker not being in there all that much, he still made a major impact on the movie.
Yep.
Like, from beginning to end, the Joker, sporadically placed throughout it, makes a huge, huge impact on this movie. So, any final words for the fandom? Alright. Well, this is an almost 30-minute long video. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe, stay beautiful, YouTube.